Hi, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to more of Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. We are really close to being done. Today we're going to start with chapter 43. Up bright and early the next morning, Kyle made his way across the reading rotunda room. It was 8:15. The Dewey Decimal doors would open in 1 hour and 45 minutes. The game would be over in less than 4 hours. Kyle was totally pumped. Sierra Russell, on the other hand, was sitting in a comfy chair reading a book. "Hey," said Kyle. "Hi," said Sierra, stifling a small yawn. "Did you stay up all night reading?" "No, I went upstairs around 2. But there's a new stack of books on the librarian's desk when I came down." "Oh, really? What'd you find?" 5 copies of this." She showed Kyle her book. It was The 11th Hour, a curious mystery. It's a rhyming picture book about Horace the elephant's 11th birthday party and the search to find out who ran off with all the food. There are hidden messages and cryptic codes all over the pages. Why is it called the 11th hour? The birthday feast was supposed to take place at 11 a.m., but since somebody stole all the food, Kyle laughed. 11 a.m.? What? The 11th hour, the last possible moment. Kyle nudged his head up at the Wonder Dome. How much do you want to bet that at 11 o'clock, on the dot, the clue we need most of all will pop up in the 300 section? Sierra smiled. So this new book is a clue about our clue? That's my guess. Did you eat breakfast? Not yet. Well, what are you waiting for? Said Miguel as he strode into the room. Today's the big day. We're going to need our energy for the final sprint. He's right, said Akimi, climbing down the spiral staircase. The doors open in less than 2 hours, and then we only have 2 more hours to figure everything out. But, said Kyle to his other teammates, Sierra just figured out when we'll get the big 300s clue. He gestured towards the picture book. At the last possible minute. What? Said Akimi. 11:59? Close. 11 o'clock. Awesome, said Miguel. It must be a very good clue. Kyle and his team went into the cafe where they found Haley Daly seated at a table, eating half a grapefruit, staring blankly through the glass walls into the rotunda. Hey, Haley, said Kyle. How's it going? Not bad. You? Good. Win or lose, we're having a blast. We're the fun bunch, said Akimi. You guys really get along, huh? Oh, yes, said Sierra. I haven't had this much fun since I was 6. Seriously? What's the matter, Haley? Said Akimi. Life not so good on Team Charles? It's okay, I guess. I mean, we've pulled together some clues and all. Well, said Miguel, if you ever want to switch sides, we're always looking for new members. Can I do that? Just switch sides? Even though I know everything about what Team Charles did all day yesterday? I think so, said Kyle. I mean, there was nothing in the rules about teams. Huh, said Haley. And Andrew's teamed up with you guys too? No, said Kyle. Haley nodded towards the wall of windows behind Kyle. Then why'd he just swipe his library card and go into your meeting room? Chapter 44. Zipping across the slick marble floor, Kyle and his team, trailed by Haley, practically slid into Community Meeting Room B, where Andrew Peckelman stood with a notepad jotting down everything that was written on the whiteboard walls. Hey, shouted Akimi, that's cheating. Andrew spun around. His eyes were the size of tennis balls behind his goggle glasses. He sputtered. You guys left the door open. No, we did not, said Kyle extremely calmly, especially considering how much he wanted to throttle Peckelman. It locks automatically. I checked. And I double-checked the door before we went to bed, said Miguel. Kyle was surprised to hear it. You did? You bet, bro. It's what teammates do. They knocked knuckles. Well, you don't have anything but a stupid list of stupid books and stupid authors and a stupid Bible verse. A verse which, boomed Mr. Lemoncello, whose face had just appeared on the video screen wall. You would do well to memorize, Mr. Peckelman. Thou shalt not steal. Mr. Lemoncello was dressed in a curled white wig and a long black robe. He looked like a judge in England. He slammed down a rubber gavel on his desk. It made a noise like a whoopee cushion. Will everyone kindly join me in the rotunda reading room? At once. Everybody shuffled out of the meeting room and into the rotunda. They were shocked to see that Mr. Lemoncello himself was seated behind the librarian's desk at the center of the circular room. This was no hologram. This was the real deal. Charles, all smiles, made a grand entrance, slowly descending one of the spiral staircases. Good morning, everybody, he called out cheerfully. What's all the excitement? Did I miss something? Just your man Andrew trying to cheat, said Miguel. What? Oh, good morning, Mr. Lemoncello. I didn't expect to find you here, inside the library. Isn't today your birthday, sir? Yes, Charles, and there's no place I'd rather be on my big day than inside a library, surrounded by books. Unless, of course, I could be on a bridge to Terabithia. Well, sir, I must say, you're certainly looking fit and trim. Have you been working out? No, Charles. Today I will be working in. I beg your pardon? Today I will be working here, inside the library, supervising the final hours of this competition. Oh, I don't think it will take hours, sir, said Charles. Not to brag, but I suspect some of us will be going home very soon. You are correct. For instance, Mr. Peckelman. He will be leaving right now. What? Whined Peckelman. Why? Because you cheated. You tried to steal the other team's hard-earned information. Peckelman's eyes darted back and forth. It wasn't my fault. It was Charles's idea. He whipped up his arm and waggled his finger. Charles told me to do it. He made me do it. Mr. Peckelman, please approach the bench, which in this instance is actually a desk. Let me see the library card you used to gain access to Community Meeting Room B. Somewhat reluctantly, Andrew handed it over. Is your name Sierra Russell? No, sir, Andrew said to his shoes. He stole my card, said Sierra. She opened her latest book and pulled out the library card bookmark. Whose card do you have, Sierra? Asked Charles. Andrew Peckelman's. Aha, said Charles. He pulled the old switcheroo, eh? Because you told me to, said Peckelman. Really? Charles said, sniggering. How dare you make such a scandalous accusation? Do you have any proof? I don't need any stupid proof. You bullied me into stealing Sierra's card. Mr. Lemoncello banged his gavel again. And thus ends the story of Andrew and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Mrs. Bunny? A hologram of the old lady bunny from Goodnight Moon hopped on top of the librarian's desk. Good night, Andrew, said the bunny. Your time with us is all through. Clarence and Clement, the security guards, appeared and escorted Peckelman out of the building. Sir, said Sierra, would you like Andrew's library card for the discard pile? No, thank you. That card is now property of Team Kyle. Haley Daly raised her hand. Yes, Haley? Kyle saw her shoot a withering glance at Charles. How may I help you, dear? Asked Mr. Lemoncello. Well, sir, if it's okay with you, I'd like to switch sides. I want to join Kyle Keeley's team. Chapter 45. Zap, said Mr. Lemoncello, waving his arms like a magician. Zip, you're now on Kyle Keeley's team. Haley, said Charles, how can you desert me? The same way you just deserted Andrew. Do we get her library card too? Said Kyle. Indeed you do, plus any and all information she chooses to share with you. And so, Charles, I ask you, would you like to quit your team and join Kyle's? Excuse me? You know, all for one and one for all? Sure. With all due respect, that may have worked for those 3 musketeers in a trumped-up work of fiction, but I'm sorry, that is not how things work in the real world. Out here, it's every man for himself. What good is a prize if everyone wins it? I see. But Haley knows all the clues you've collected. True, sir, but I doubt she realizes what any of them mean. Kyle could see Mr. Lemoncello's nose twitch when Charles said that, and it wasn't a happy bunny kind of twitch either. It was a joke, sir. Charles must have seen the nose twitch too. Oh, I see. Like the one about the boy named Charles. Hilarious. Remind me to tell it to you sometime. Anyway, be that as it may, I insist that you be given a few extra clues to compensate for the fact that all your teammates are either being kicked out of the game or abandoning your ship. Mr. Lemoncello reached under the desk and pulled out a white envelope. This, Charles, is for your eyes only. Charles stepped forward and took the envelope. Thank you, sir. That is very generous. I know. You may also ask me one question, but please, don't waste your question asking me where is the alternate exit, because I do not know. You don't know? Kyle said it before Charles could. Haven't a clue. This entire game was designed by my head librarian, Dr. Yelena Zinchenko, as my birthday present. But, said Akimi, you could just ask Dr. Zinchenko how to get out, right? Akimi Hughes? Are you one of those people who read the last chapter of a book first to see how it ends? No, but... Good. It's much more fun when the ending's a surprise. Dr. Zinchenko is the only one who knows how and where to exit this building without setting off all sorts of fire alarms. Any clues I personally delivered during the course of this game were completely scripted for me by Dr. Z. Okay, said Charles. Here's my question. Mr. Lemoncello raised his hand. Before you ask it, be advised, your opponents will also hear my answer. Fine. Why is the book on the bedside table in your private suite from the mixed-up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler by E. L. Konigsberg? Because when I was your age, Mrs. Tobin, my local librarian, gave it to me. Miguel raised his hand. Yes, Miguel. Can we have one bonus question too? He asked politely. No, said Mr. Lemoncello. However, I will give you one bonus answer, which Charles, of course, will also hear. Your bonus answer is lodgepole, loblolly, and Rocky Mountain White. What are 3 different kinds of pine trees? Said Charles, just to show off, and to let Kyle's team know their bonus answer didn't give them any kind of advantage. I am told that is correct, said Mr. Lemoncello, touching his ear. He reached under the desk again, and this time pulled up a 3-foot-tall hourglass, a giant version of the red plastic timers that came as standard equipment in a lot of his games. He turned it over. It's the jumbo 3-hour size, he said as the sand started trickling down, because it is now 9 o'clock, and you have only 3 more hours to find your way out of the library. Good luck, and may the best team, or in Charles's case, the best solo effort, win. Chapter 46. Let's see what kind of real bonus clues Mr. Lemoncello is serving up today, Charles said to his empty conference room. He really didn't mind flying solo. It meant he wouldn't have to share his prize when he won it. Winner won all, losers lost all. That was just the way the world rolled, and Charles knew he would win. After all, he was at Chiltington. They never lost. Even if he had wasted his question about the mixed-up files book, turned out that Mr. Lemoncello was just a sentimental sap like Kyle Keeley. The book was there because his beloved librarian gave it to the old fool when he was the same age as all the library lock-in contestants. Boo-hoo, big whoop. And what was all that nonsense about pine trees? Preposterous. Unclasping the sealed envelope, Charles found 2 silhouette cards. Each of them was numbered, in case Charles couldn't figure out which books they would have been hidden in. Babied? Charles wondered. No, crawled. He examined the second free card. 3 dinners, 3 couples, a restaurant? This one was difficult. Charles decided to put the 2 new pieces into the puzzle to see if their meanings would become clearer. Charles was missing only 1 clue, but he had everything else. You can walk out the way blank, crawled in past restaurant? No, that didn't make any sense. In fact, all he was really certain about were the first 2 lines. You can walk out the way. The way what? Past the restaurant? The Book Nook Cafe? And what about the image of the football player? It came from the Johnny Unitas book. Maybe Johnny Unitas, who had played football back when Mr. Lemoncello was Charles's age, had owned a restaurant? Perhaps a popular national chain? If so, there might have been one in Alexandriaville. Maybe right here in the old Gold Leaf Bank building. Could the last bit be in Johnny Unitas's restaurant? Or what if Andrew Peckelman had been right all along and it was the 19 that was the clue from the football player card? That would make the final line in 19... what? Diners? Couples? No. Anniversaries. The 3 couples in the bonus card were obviously celebrating their anniversaries. 19 anniversaries. Was today the 19th anniversary of some major event in Alexandriaville? Charles shook his head. He knew the phrase would make sense only after he had completed the 3rd line, the only one that still had a blank in it. Blank crawled in. What if the missing image is an eyeball? Then the 3rd line would be I crawled in. Hang on, Charles thought. The one book in the staff picks display case nobody had found yet was True Crime Ohio, the Buckeye State's most notorious brigands, burglars, and bandits by Claire Taylor Winters. The last image was going to be a criminal of some sort. That one single missing book might tell Charles who had crawled into the bank and, More importantly, where they had crawled in. Was this the 19th anniversary of a famous bank robbery? Charles realized he needed help. It was time to use his Ask an Expert. That made him laugh, because Charles knew the top library expert in all of America, maybe the world, someone much more important than Dr. Yanina Zinchenko. Kyle Keeley and the rest of that bunch didn't stand a chance. Chapter 47. Eager to find out all he could in the final minutes before the Dewey Decimal doors reopened on the second floor, Kyle listened as Haley Daly detailed everything she had learned on Team Charles. Meanwhile, Akemi added Andrew's and Haley's library cards to the list on the whiteboards in Community Meeting Room B. "We were piecing together a picture puzzle," said Haley. "It was like a memory match game, or that old TV show Concentration." "We played one of those too," said Miguel. "A rebus." "Right. So far, I'm pretty sure it says something like, 'You walk out the way bandits crawled in.'" "Thou shalt not steal," said Kyle, tapping the Bible verse they had found in the 200s room. "That points to bandits, too." "And the blackbird," said Sierra. "It wailed like a police siren." "Chasing bandits." "Hang on," said Miguel. "What about Willy Wonka? Were there criminals in the chocolate factory?" "No," said Sierra. "And what about all this?" said Akemi, pointing to the list of library cards. "I added the new cards, but it still doesn't make much sense." Books and authors on the backs of library cards. Number 1, Miguel Fernandez. Incident at Hawks Hill by Alan W. Eckert. No David by David Shannon. Number 2, Akemi Hughes. One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish by Dr. Seuss. 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger. Number 3, Andrew Peckelman. 6 Days of the Condor by James Grady. 8 Cousins by Louisa May Alcott. Number 4, Bridget Wadge. Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Number 5, Sierra Russell. The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. The Weston Game by Ellen Raskin. Number 6, Yasmin Smith Snyder. Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. The Yak Who Yelled Yuck by Carol Pugliano Martin. Number 7, Sean Keegan. Olivia by Ian Faulkner. Unreal by Paul Jennings. Number 8, Haley Daly. Turtle in Paradise by Jennifer L. Holm. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle. Number 9, Rose Vermette. All of a Kind Family by Sydney Taylor. Scat by Carl Hyacin. Number 10, Kayla Corson. Anna to the Infinite Power by Mildred Ames. Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. Number 11, Unknown, Charles Chiltington. Number 12, Kyle Keeley. I Love You Stinky Face by Lisa McCourt. The Napping House by Audrey Wood. "Wow," said Haley. "What a mess." "Tell me about it," said Akemi. "I don't think it's another author title game," said Sierra, "like up on the Wonder Dome." "Huh?" said Haley. "Long story," said Miguel. "We'll save it for later." "What we need," said Kyle, "is some kind of clue to show us how to unscramble this list. Remember what Dr. Zinchenko said when the game started. Your library cards are the keys to everything you will need. This clue is the big one, guys. We need to crack it." That's when Mr. Lemoncello popped his head in the door. "Hello, hope I'm not interrupting. We have 20 minutes till the doors open upstairs. Anybody up for an extreme challenge?" And that's where we're going to stop for today. Come back tomorrow for some more, and we will be starting with chapter 48. See you later.